Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you back to the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and welcome to this week's edition of Crimson Drive here on the CTSN Facebook and Twitter pages. It's, of course, our weekly talk show on all things Crimson Tide athletics, and today we've got three great conversations coming up looking at football, baseball, softball, so much news to get to when it comes to University of Alabama athletics. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's coming up on today's edition of Crimson Drive. Well, as I mentioned, we have some great conversations ahead for you this afternoon. First of all, with former Crimson Tide tight end Miller Forristall. Twice he won a national championship here at the Capstone, and he'll join us to not only talk about his Alabama career, but also getting prepared for the upcoming NFL draft. Then Owen Diodati keeps hitting home runs left and right for the Alabama baseball team. He'll join us to talk about the sweep against Texas A&M, plus what's ahead this weekend against Auburn. Kaylee Towle, she's also been hitting home runs against the Texas A&M Aggies. She's been having a terrific season for the Crimson Tide softball team, so she gives us a snapshot of everything going on with Crimson Tide softball. And then finally, we will take a look at some practice footage for the Crimson Tide as they are in their final week of spring practice, gearing up for what is coming up on Saturday. Speaking of that, as we get into our headlines, we start with football. On Saturday, it will be the 2021 Golden Flake A-Day game at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Capacity is set at 50%, so we look forward to seeing a lot of you inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Tickets are only $5 and available right now on RollTide.com. Here on the radio, we'll go on the air at 11:30 a.m. with a conversation with Coach Saban and Eli Gold. We'll also have the booth cam streaming live on Facebook just like this, so you know you can catch the broadcast just by coming to our Facebook page, tune in, and of course all of our great radio affiliates across the state and throughout the Southeast. Now, once the game is over on Saturday, make sure you stick around, either if you're watching or listening to the broadcast, or if you're inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, stay right there because we will have the 2020 National Championship celebration. We'll hear some comments from Coach Saban, Mac Jones, also throughout the ball game. The Heisman Trophy and also the Maxwell Award will be presented to Devontae Smith. He will also be there along with Mac Jones. A lot of guys that were no longer on this upcoming team for Alabama, but played a key role in the national championship team. They will be there for the celebration, and one of those players is, of course, Miller Forristall, and we'll be visiting with him coming up soon. Crimson Tide softball team, what a great series win they had last week at number 8 Arkansas. Now they're ranked 3rd in the country. Montana Fouts, 2 great outings against the Arkansas Razorbacks. She had a spotless ERA. Not only was she the SEC Pitcher of the Week, but she was also the D1 Softball National Pitcher of the Week for her outstanding work in the circle. And you know she'll be primed and ready for this huge weekend series against the Florida Gators. It's a top 5 showdown at Rhodes, and we can't wait to talk more softball coming up with Kaylee Towle. But if you're in Tuscaloosa this weekend, got to check out Crimson Tide softball. It will be quite a series coming up against the Florida Gators. Then the Crimson Tide gymnastics team, we're a championship school here at Alabama, and this is the next team that has a chance to win a championship. They've already won the SEC championship. Now they're in the NCAA semifinals. That's coming up tomorrow at 5 p.m. from Fort Worth, Texas. If they're able to advance to the national championship finals, that'll be coming your way Saturday at 2:30. More details available on RollTide.com. Crimson Tide baseball team had a great weekend last weekend in College Station, Texas, getting a complete sweep of the Texas A&M Aggies. Then they were able to come home to Tuscaloosa on Tuesday night, pick up a 19-3 victory against the Samford Bulldogs. Again, 19 runs for the Crimson Tide. You would say, wow, that's got to be the most they've had this year. Well, they've also had a game where they scored 16 runs against number 1 Arkansas, and then the most was, of course, 21 runs they had earlier in the year at the College of Charleston. But 19-3, impressive win for Alabama on Tuesday. Now the Crimson Tide home against Auburn starting tonight at Sewell Thomas Stadium. It'll be a Thursday through Saturday series. Radio coverage, of course, for you on each and every game here on the network. And coming up, we'll talk about one of the great stars for the Crimson Tide as we will visit with Owen Diodati to get his thoughts on the season he's having so far, plus let you know a little more about this Alabama baseball team. And then in Olympic sports, some great honors for some Crimson Tide athletes, starting with the SEC Men's Runner of the Week, Ulid Kipsang, as he ran away from the field to produce a 3:36.00, shattering the school record at the Sam Bailey Track and Field Stadium. It was also the record for that facility. He won the 1,500 meter by more than 10 seconds. Kipsang's time ranks 7th all-time in NCAA Division I history. He's the SEC Men's Runner of the Week. The SEC Women's Runner of the Week is Tamara Clark, and she's also been named name to the Bowerman Award mid-season watch list as she posted the nation's fastest 100-meter dash time for the outdoor season this past weekend, the Crimson Tide Invite, as she ran the race in 11:07. Then the SEC Female Swimmer of the Year is Ryan White. It's the highest individual point score from the SEC at the Women's NCAA Championship. She had 48 points as she finished in the top 5 in all 3 individual events she competed in during the NCAA Championships. Took the silver medal in both the 100 and 200 backstrokes and also finished 5th in the 100 butterfly. Ryan White also scored as part of the Tide's 200 and 400 medley relays at the NCAA Championship. So congratulations to those outstanding student athletes on those awards from both the NCAA and the SEC. Today on Crimson Drive, our conversations begin with a former Crimson Tide football player in Miller Forristall. And as we're going to note right off the top, that kind of sounds odd because he's been a part of Alabama football since the 2016 season, but he wrapped up a great career. Now he's looking forward to the NFL draft, so I think you'll enjoy this conversation with former Alabama tight end Miller Forristall. Joined now by former Alabama tight end Miller Forristall. And Miller, first of all, does it just hear weird? Does it sound weird saying former Alabama tight end? But you've been here for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good portion of my life. It's like almost a fourth of my life I've been in Tuscaloosa. So it's been a fantastic 4 or 5 years, but I'm definitely ready for the next part and super thankful for everything the city and university has done for me.
Yeah, you're getting ready for the NFL draft. Just what have the last few weeks been like for you at getting your body in the best shape it can be and also meeting with a lot of different teams?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic to stay and work out here. I know a lot of guys went other places and that maybe was for them, but for me, it was staying here. Got to work out with these new strength coaches and a couple of NFL guys that came back, and I just had a fantastic experience. And like you said, yeah, there's meetings and phone calls and Zooms and no real workouts and 2 pro days. So it's been a unique year, to say the least.
What did you like about your performance during Alabama's pro days, and what were you trying to show during those opportunities in front of people in person finally?
You know, I think when I had a couple marks I wanted to hit, number-wise, I think I did those well enough. I wanted to show, just like Mac wanted to show, man, he can throw the ball over the place. I wanted to throw, I can run routes and be smooth in the open field. And I think, and I hope that's something the teams took away and said, that guy moves a lot better than we thought he did. That guy catches the ball a lot better than we thought he did.
We mentioned a lot of Zoom meetings for you with these NFL teams. What are they usually asking about? Do you kind of get into the X's and O's? Are they trying to learn you more as a person or away from the field? Just what are those meetings like for you?
You get both. You get calls that are strictly personality. You get calls that are strictly football. Depends on the coach and the team or the personnel guy in the team. I mean, I can't tell you how many IQ tests I've taken. You take a lot of IQ tests here at the beginning of this, and then now as the closer you get to draft day, the more the coaches you're talking to. But it's been good.
Well, I'm sure you're excited. Again, the NFL draft's coming up in a few weeks. Of course, around here, we're still celebrating the national championship season that Alabama had. Just what can you tell us about your memorable senior year that you got to experience?
And I think it'll go down in history as a year unlike any other. A year with arguably just the most against us. The tightest knit group of guys, the best team that fought against so much and ultimately climbed to the top of the mountain. I think I was definitely the closest team I've ever played on. And I'll never forget that.
Was it so close just because there was a lot of uncertainty around, June, July, August? Would there be a football season? You guys had to come together and just, keep working out and keep staying focused on a goal. Do you think that helped bring this team closer together?
Without a doubt. I think that adversity, it breeds that tight-knit unit. That's why great adversity usually makes great teams. You look back to the 2011 team, right? The 2010, 2011 team. I mean, adversity unlike any other, a super tight-knit team. You get a COVID year. Guys have no idea if they're going to play. What are we going to do? Where are we going to work out? And then leaders step up and emerge. And you have a super tight-knit, close team who plays fantastic together. And thus was the outcome. So.
Yeah, it certainly was impressive. It was impressive as well to see Mac Jones take the ownership that he did, especially early in the season. Did you get an inkling kind of early on that he would have a special year?
Yeah, I've been trying to tell people that for like 5 years now. That kid stepped on campus. People are like, what is this? Why did we take this kid? I'm like, man, just wait. And yeah, I think it'll pan out okay for him.
Yeah, it certainly will. If you were able to talk to an NFL team about Mac Jones, what would you tell them?
So, man, he's one of the most mature guys on the team. He is one of the largest competitors, and he prepares unlike any other. And then he'll beat you in all three fields every day. He will out prepare you. He will out compete you. And I mean, he will just be out. He'll be ready. And that's something it's been fun to play with.
For sure. And of course, you were a quarterback in your own right at Cartersville High School with the Purple Hurricanes. And then came along a guy named Trevor Lawrence. So what can you tell us about, first of all, your first impressions when you got to see him way back when, and then the transition you made to tight end after he took over the quarterback role?
Yeah. So going into my junior year, I'm going to be the starting quarterback at Cartersville, all fine and dandy. Super tall, lanky freshman kid comes in. I see him throw a ball, and I was like, that came out of his hands differently than it does mine. And I wasn't bad. I was a solid high school quarterback. Maybe could have gone and played small college ball. But like I said, his arm was a little bit different. And I had my head coach at the time. His name's Joey King, now at Carrollton. He came up to me and he said, you know what, like, we need to have a conversation about 6 games in. He sat down and we drew a pros and cons list on the board, something I still do today. And he goes, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses. And then he drew like tight end next to it. He goes, these are what you want in the tight end. And he's like, man, all this lines up. I think it would be best for you and it would be best for the team if you did this. And it took a lot of sitting at home talking to my family. Man, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I worked so hard for this. And that's something I think a lesson that God has continually tried to teach me, that you can do all the right things and not what you want in your head happen. Because again, it's not your plan. So ultimately I kind of let go of that, switched to tight end, go into my senior year with no offers. We finished my junior year. I don't have a single offer. Trying to get an offer going into your senior year is unlikely. And pick up 25 in a month surrounding spring ball and kind of explode after that. And then get the awesome opportunity to come play here. It was a whirlwind, to say the least.
No doubt. And what did you like about playing tight end, first of all, or did you like it at first when you're having to put your hand in the dirt, having to do a lot more blocking and then learning the route tree? I mean, what was that transition like?
Yeah, the physicality wasn't the hard part. I was all about being physical and throwing your head in there. The technique was something to learn because I had never done it before. And I felt stupid getting down in the stance, 3-point stance. I'm like, what am I doing? That was the tough part. And then it was a lot nicer not having to try and read everyone on the defense. So a lot less thinking, and I could just go play fast. It's something I still appreciate. Now there's still thinking playing tight end. Don't get me wrong. We are the move guy who does a lot of adjusting, but at the same time, it's not the same as a quarterback. So.
And I mentioned Trevor Lawrence. Of course, you guys got to face each other a few times throughout your career at Alabama. Are you still in good touch with him, or are you got to be excited for what's coming up for him in the NFL draft?
Yeah, saw him last week. Got to go be at his wedding. Support and celebrate him and his new wife. So yeah, we kept in touch pretty close, and I'm super excited for what's to come for him.
Well, you mentioned his wedding. Of course, you're engaged to a former Alabama star as well, Abby Lutzenkirchen, who played on the soccer team. How'd you guys get to know each other? What's the love story there?
Met her through FCA on campus here, actually. Introduced pretty much by Gary Kramer, the guy who runs FCA here on campus. I met her through a trip here and bothered her for months and months and months, and she wanted nothing to do with me, and eventually she caved. And now we're getting married next year. So
congratulations to that. How did FCA help you all throughout your time in Alabama?
I say that was a place I tried to run away from for a while. Like, I don't want to be around that. And now ultimately, man, it's a place I found home. Some of my closest friends, some of my closest confidants, people I confide in, people I look to for support. It's been a home for me, and I couldn't be more thankful for that place and those people.
I'm absolutely right there with you. It's a special place here at Alabama. Have you enjoyed just the championship school mindset? Of course, football wins the national championship. Did you watch a lot of the Alabama basketball games and cheer on Nate Oates' team this past year?
Oh, of course. I could not. Looking forward to all our Alabama athletics just excelling. I mean, we're at top 10 in everything. So it's fun to watch and go be a part of. Got to go watch women's golf yesterday. That's the championships. Go watch them play. Of course, they play for like a week straight. So it'd be awesome to play golf for a week straight. But I can't get down to Birmingham for a week straight. So while watching them play was a lot of fun. I wish them the best as well.
Well, that's certainly exciting. Again, we're gearing up for A-Day this weekend. Did you always like the spring game? How did the players kind of approach this last final practice of the year?
Yeah, everyone always looks forward to the spring game, kind of let it all loose. You've been practicing for 15 practices, I think, and you're ready to just let it all loose, go play, and then kind of relax after that. Like, this is the pinnacle of spring ball, and then you get May, which is this weird dead period. So I think everybody kind of looks forward to letting it loose in spring ball. And I know all the media and everybody's excited to see what do these new guys look like. What do these freshmen that have turned into sophomores now look like? What's the quarterback look like? So it'll be fun to watch for everybody.
Well, what are the next couple of weeks like for you as you get ready for the NFL draft again, starting on that Thursday, April 29th?
We'll be working out here in Tuscaloosa. I'll head home that weekend to go be with my family. But right now, phone calls, meetings, and working out, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, because got no idea what the next month will hold. Rookie minicamp, not sure where I'll go, not sure when I'll go, not sure. So I got to be ready and flexible. So.
Well, we're really excited for you, Miller. Just thank you for everything you've meant to Alabama throughout your career, and we can't wait to see your next steps in the NFL. Just best of luck, and thank again for joining us on Crimson Drive.
No, thank you, man.
Always a lot of fun to visit with Miller Forristall. He's been kind of a media favorite over the last few years, always giving really honest answers anytime he talked about the Crimson Tide football team, a fan favorite as well, and we certainly wish him all the best coming up in the NFL draft. Switching gears from football to baseball, the Crimson Tide baseball team is off to a tremendous start this season and playing really well right now in SEC play. Last weekend had a great sweep of the Texas A&M Aggies, and in the Sunday ball game, Owen Diodati really was the difference. The game was tied at 4 in the top of the 7th inning. He hits a go-ahead home run, 7-4 Alabama. Tide get the win by that score and get a sweep of Texas A&M. So with that, we wanted to catch up with Owen Diodati, get his thoughts, first of all, on that home run and also how everything is going for him in 2021. Joined now by Owen Diodati. And Dio, what can you tell us about the home run you hit on Sunday against Texas A&M?
Yeah, it was a special one for me. Obviously, it's tough to win a series on the road, and obviously even tougher to sweep. And we definitely needed it this weekend. After starting the way we did, I thought we were, really competing, really battling well. We just weren't having things go our way those first few weekends. And for us to go in and, get that third game on Sunday in Texas, it was huge for us. So that one felt really good.
And for you, you've been coming up in big spots all year long. The 3 grand slams that you've had already this season. That was a 3-run homer you hit at Texas A&M. What can you tell us about your approach when you're at the plate with so many men on base?
I try not to do too much, and I think that's the mental cue I kind of use. And I kind of wish I could use that same cue with no runners on base sometimes, but I almost try and simplify with runners on base. Often guys, and even myself in the past, has just, tried to do too much and, tried to hit that home run. But mentally, I'm really just trying in those situations to keep things simple, relax, and not try and do too much, because, when you try and do too much, that's when things don't work out.
Well, at times this year, things have been working out for this Alabama offense. I mentioned one of your grand slams. That was part of a 10-run inning against College of Charleston. We also saw the blowout victory against Arkansas. Just when Alabama's having innings like that, you're scoring 10 runs in an inning, you're getting these lopsided victories. What's that feel like for this lineup?
It's really good. There's been times this season where I felt like, and I think everyone has felt like, offensively we haven't clicked. But you've seen flashes of it, early on in the season where you kind of saw that this offense could be something really special, which is something that we've always believed and something we've always known. And, I feel like it was just a matter of time before we kind of got rolling. And, we had production up and down the lineup rather than just a few guys. So it's been really good, the last little bit to see that offense start to click. And I think the way we're pitching as well as with the offense, I think we're going to be really dangerous moving forward.
Tell us about Coach Zulli as a hitting coach.
He's awesome. Is someone that, I trust with everything when it comes to my swing. And he's just a great coach to talk to, with stuff outside of baseball too. And he's just really high energy. It doesn't matter, what had gone on earlier in his day. He's always going to bring the same energy to the ballpark, and you can always count on him to be there for you. And if there's anything I could say, he just loves his job. He's so passionate about hitting, and he does so much for us. So I'm so grateful and so lucky to have him here.
And it seems like Coach Bohannon does a really good job too of keeping you guys positive, and really just during the season, just go out there and play. If you like that mindset from Coach Bo?
Yeah, it's really good, when you don't have a coach kind of breathing down your neck. It kind of takes the pressure off and just allows you to be a baseball player and kind of let your talent be what it is. And, it's really nice that, we got off to kind of a shaky start from a record standpoint in SEC play, but, his mentality and his message was, just keep competing, things will bounce back and go our way. And that's kind of what we did. And I think that, that approach has really helped us to, kind of obviously bounce back this weekend and hopefully keep that going moving forward.
You're from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. So you make the trip down to Tuscaloosa and become part of the Crimson Tide. Just what stood out to you in the recruiting process about Alabama?
It was kind of a all around, impression that was really positive for me coming here, from a coaching staff perspective to a facilities perspective. And I just really like the whole culture, that Coach Bo is trying to bring into the program, and kind of the university as a whole. Obviously, you've seen lately that it's a championship school, and obviously we want to become a part of that. And there wasn't anything that kind of threw up a red flag for me. I was really impressed with, everything I saw, and it made the decision really easy for me.
Of course, you're one of several Canadians that are on this campus right now. You look also on your roster, Antoine Jean is from Canada, and then Joshua Primo in basketball, John Mechie in football. Have all of you guys really bonded since you got down here?
Yeah, I mean, me and Antoine have known each other for years prior to joining the Crimson Tide, but I haven't had the chance to meet Primo, but I've met John Mechie, and he's a great guy. And obviously, being able to come down here and all the way from Canada and be able to play for these teams and have an impact, it's really special for our country and kind of athletics in Canada, and just kind of show that we can play sports too. And it's definitely nice culturally to have people that come from familiar backgrounds here on campus. And it's really cool to be able to be at a school where Canadians aren't so rare.
Yeah, do you like it on social media? A lot of times, anytime you do something, the Alabama baseball account will tweet out the Canadian flag emoji. They even put your walk-off grand slam that you had. They kind of set that to the "Oh Canada" music earlier in the year. You got to love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I never really get sick of seeing that. I'm a long way from home, and I get to visit, maybe once or twice a year. So it's always nice to have a little reminder from home. And I know my family and friends back home love to see that too. So it's definitely really, really fun to see that. And I never get tired of it.
Yeah, kind of with that being said, once the pandemic shut down sports, it also really shut down, international travel. So what was the first steps you were able to take after the pandemic ended the season in mid-March? Were you able to go home right away, or what were we able to do?
So after when the pandemic hit, I actually, through that whole time, up until this Christmas, actually, I was in Alabama for the first probably 4 or 5 months of the pandemic. I actually stayed with the Hamiter family. So that was awesome. They were great to me. It was like being at home. They're an awesome family, and they took me in as one of their own. And it definitely made being away from my family a lot easier. But we went from there, and then I played summer ball in Mississippi and went straight into the fall semester. So it was actually Christmas to Christmas, almost a full year in between me being home. So it was definitely tough, but being able to go home this Christmas and visit my family was definitely special.
Yeah, it's certainly good to hear you're able to get home. And of course, with your Canadian background as well, played a lot of hockey. How does all the hockey skills you had, how do those help you as a baseball player now?
There's from a basic skill perspective, I don't know if there's a ton between hockey and baseball that line up, but there's a lot, mentality wise and things like that in hockey and baseball that line up. And obviously there's adversity in sports and things like that. But, I think both sports just, kind of teach you to deal with failure. And, that's something that comes with, it's definitely nice to have other sports and learn other things from hockey, playing that my whole life. And it gave me a break too, growing up from baseball. And it's made playing baseball all year round so much more special now, just because I have such an appreciation for how much I love it.
Last year you weren't able to see any SEC pitching. Again, the pandemic ended the season right before Missouri came to town. Now this year you have been able to face some really outstanding SEC teams. You look at the first 3 series, all top 6 in the nation when you were playing them. Just what's that difference in the level of pitching you've been going up against on the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see it. The breaking balls bite harder. They usually have more than one off-speed pitch that they can throw for a strike, and their fastballs coming in, with more movement or harder than you see out of conference. So it's definitely obviously a jump and, some of the best stuff I've seen. But our team, obviously offensively, I really believe in what we can do. And you got to think that all fall long we're facing SEC pitching when we're scrimmaging and stuff like that. And obviously our pitching staff is awesome too. So I felt like we were really prepared. And like I said earlier, I think part of it is just trying not to do too much. I think, the pitching gets a little bit better. Oftentimes what you want to do is swing harder or put more effort. And I think if anything, you got to go the other way and, try and simplify things. So that's been a big learning point for me and something I try and keep in mind every time I go up there.
And for you as well, when you get to play at Sewell Thomas Stadium, you get to play in right field in front of the Right Field Ragers, the great student section we have. Do you have fun interactions with them during the game? Are they talking a lot with you out there? How's everything going with the Ragers?
Yeah, it's awesome. I try and stay focused out there, but there's definitely some times when it's okay to interact, and I do every time I can. It's awesome to have them out there, and they're definitely really positive and love us out there, no matter who's out there. So it's pretty awesome. And I'm definitely lucky to be able to be out there.
Well, Owen, a sweep for the Crimson Tide at Texas A&M. Now you got the Auburn Tigers coming to town this weekend, Thursday through Saturday, for a big series. Just what do you feel like you guys need to do to continue winning in conference play?
I just think we need to keep doing what we're doing. Honestly, not try and do, too much more. Obviously there's areas where we need to improve. And, little things we need to clean up. But I think, from a mentality and competitiveness standpoint, we're competing really hard. And, I really believe in our team and our talent and our culture. And I think, we keep playing like this. We keep doing what we need to do and take care of business. The results from a winning standpoint will take care of themselves. And, I'm really excited about this weekend. And it's a good opportunity for us to get in the win column.
And how excited are you guys, too, that Antoine Jean was able to return this past week against Texas A&M, and we're starting to hear some good things about Connor Prelip and maybe the possibility of him returning. Just what kind of boost is that to this group, getting those guys back possibly?
That's huge. And, early on in SEC play, you never want to make any excuses, but it's definitely tougher to win when you don't have great pitchers like that, when they're out. And it's tough when you're banged up, especially in the SEC. So it's going to be awesome having those guys back. I think, everyone's excited to back on the mound. It was obviously awesome to see Antoine back out there this past weekend. So we're really excited to have those guys back. And I think it just adds to, the momentum that we already have moving forward.
Well, Owen, we can't wait to see you guys back at Sewell Thomas Stadium for a good homestand coming up. Just thank you so much for joining us, and Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thanks for having me.
Owen Diodati of the Alabama Crimson Tide baseball team. We hope he has a great weekend coming up against the Auburn Tigers. Hopefully a lot of home runs to right field to all of his friends, the right field Ragers. Somebody that hopes to be entertaining the fans at the Rhodes House this weekend is Kaylee Tao. The last time Alabama was in town in Tuscaloosa, she had a great performance in the final game of the Texas A&M series by hitting a grand slam, also driving in 5 runs. She's just been a constant force with this Crimson Tide softball team for the last several years, so we figured it was a good time to catch up on Alabama softball with Kaylee Tao. Joined now by Alabama softball's Kaylee Tao. And Kaylee, first of all, the last game of the Texas A&M series, 5 runs batted in by you. What was working so well for you at the plate?
Just trying to be competitive. That's what Murph was telling me, was just compete. And, the balls are going to start falling because I'd been hitting some ground balls and stuff. So I just felt like on that day that I was going to swing and hopefully it would work out for me, but just keep competing and trying to win for the team.
Any better feeling than hitting a grand slam?
Hitting a grand slam after being like 1 for 9.
Yeah, it's pretty special. You're able to do that at the Rhodes House. And just overall, when you look at what Alabama softball's been able to do, what are you most proud of so far this season?
Well, we've had a few injuries and just a little bit of adversity. So I'm really proud of everybody that's stepped into those roles whenever they're needed, and, they're ready whenever their name is called. So I think that we've been really resilient in that way and just taking whatever has come to us and trying to run with it and do our best.
We hear all the time from Coach Murphy about some of the different things you all do to have such strong team chemistry. And then when adversity like that strikes, what do you guys go back to?
Well, I think you're just trying to fight for the other person. No one likes to see someone get injured, and no one wants their season to be over. That's hard to see, especially when it's someone you care about and someone you love. So I know on the day that Bailey Dowling got hurt, I was just feeling like not even playing for, myself or any type of success, but just playing for her and for those opportunities that she would love to have. So building that camaraderie off the field makes playing for somebody that much easier because you love them and you care about them and you don't want to see those opportunities taken away from them, but you want to value the opportunities that you now have to just honor them and what they would do and how they would play.
Before her injury, what were you seeing out of Bailey Dowling?
I mean, she's just so clutch. Like, there were opportunities that I know against LSU, against Auburn, where we needed her to step up, and she did, and wasn't really playing like a freshman, was playing like she's been in those pressure situations a million times. So it kind of took the pressure off some other hitters' backs and gave us some big moments from a freshman that you wouldn't expect. But I just never felt like she played like a freshman. I felt like she played with so much confidence, and I had all the confidence in the world in her. So it was hard to see her have her season ended early.
Well, you mentioned seasons ending early, and last year for this group, unfortunately, the season came to a close in mid-March due to the pandemic. Just what do you remember about getting that news and then some of the first steps you took after you knew the season was canceled?
Well, I know we've talked a lot about me hitting behind Bailey this year, and I don't know if I've really expressed how much of an honor I feel like that is. And so when the season got canceled, it was like kind of an unknown of if they would be able to come back and play again. So ultimately, I was feeling a little bit crushed because I felt like I didn't want my time with her to be over. And I felt like I had so much more to learn from her. And so I was immediately just a little bit scared and a little bit sad, feeling like maybe my career playing with her was over. And obviously the other seniors as well. I didn't want to be done playing with them, but specifically her, I just feel like she teaches me so much. So I think from a team standpoint, it was just a little bit scary because we didn't want to be done playing with each other and we weren't ready to be done playing with each other. I mean, these are my best friends. I don't want to move on in life without them. And, I guess there's a time and a place, and the World Series is a good time and place to kind of close that out. But, in mid-March, we were not ready to be done playing together.
And then what kind of boost was it when you learned that they would be able to come back, these super seniors that are helping lead this team this year?
Oh, I feel like it took just like a load off. Like, we had people with so much experience coming back. They're trustworthy wherever they go. I mean, we have Alyssa Brown in the outfield. We don't have to fill that position this year. She's doing so well. We have 7 seniors coming back, a deep pitching staff. So I just feel like it took a load off of, like, we don't have to replace these people. They're coming back. They have so much under their belt. And especially leadership wise, just another year older, another year wiser. And I mean, using last year, we pretty much have the same team with some amazing additions as freshmen. So it's just using that as a learning experience now because we don't have any holes to fill. They all came back. And so I just think from a leadership standpoint and that type of, players that have had games under their belt, it was nice to know that they would be back and they would be helping us.
Well, especially Bailey Hemphill is doing that. We know about her becoming the all-time walks leader at Alabama. It's only a matter of time before she's the career home run record holder for the University of Alabama. But what can you tell us about Bailey Hemphill away from the softball diamond? What kind of person is she and teammate?
Well, she's hilarious, number one. She keeps everyone laughing. And I know you guys have probably seen that on the TV screen, but just at practice and everything, she keeps it light. She's funny. She's joking with everyone, including Coach Murphy. She keeps him joking and having fun. And also just kind of like a leader and a teacher. Like, I know she worked in schools last year, so she obviously knows how to teach, but like just teaching me. I came from the outfield to first base, and Bailey is one of the best first basemen I've ever played with, but just taking the time to teach me the small things about that position and to work with me. That's what she does with everybody. She does that with the catchers, with the pitchers, with me. So I just think she's funny, but she's also like takes everything very seriously and wants to make everyone around her better by doing those small things correctly. And obviously she's a competitor. She loves to win, hates to lose. You can tell that from everything she does in the locker room, getting there early, staying late. She's just the type of player that you want to play with and you want to have on your team.
You mentioned the transition going from the outfield to first base. Just how connected now do you feel to the game, and what's that transition been like?
At first it was tough. I think it was a week before my sophomore season that they were like, hey, we're going to practice you here a little bit just because we might need you to play there a few games this year. And then I started the opener at first base, and I was like, wow, this is definitely a transition. But I think once I accepted that role and was like, you know what, this is what's going to help the team, because I feel like at first I was like, I want to go back to the outfield. That's where I'm comfortable. But I knew that to have the best bats in the lineup, I was going to have to play first base. So I think this year I've really accepted that as my role and tried to be the best first baseman that I can be. I understand I haven't played there forever, so I do give myself a little bit of grace, but I have found it in myself to compete there and try to consider myself a first baseman. But it's definitely not easy. The reaction time is a little bit different. I do feel like as far as leading and helping the defense, that it is a little bit easier at first base to be connected to the pitcher and to the infield and what's going on. So I do like that about playing there.
What is it about Kentucky natives signing and playing for the Crimson Tide? We've seen you have great success, obviously Montana Fouts as well.
Well, I think we have that just kind of like blue collar, down home mentality of like, I know I was raised in the woods, Montana was raised on a farm. Like, we do feel like connected to our back home roots, and we've been taught how to work hard and how to, go after and get what you want. But at the same time, I just think the attractiveness of the University of Alabama pulled us out of our home state because it is so amazing here and the opportunities are endless. But I know me and Montana feel really connected to Kentucky and connected to each other, and we love where we come from. So I know that we're glad we chose Alabama at the end of the day, though.
I'm sure it was special for you guys a few weeks ago to go back to Kentucky. Not the series result you wanted, but what was it like playing in front of a lot of friends and family?
It was really special. And, it could be the last time that we get to play in front of them. We don't know if we're going back to Kentucky. So I think that was awesome to kind of feel like I was wrapping up my career in front of some of my hometown friends. I know that's really special for Montana being her first time going back to Kentucky and playing in front of them. It's always really special, especially when so many people come out and support. I know Montana had a ton of people there. Yeah, it wasn't the series result that we wanted, but at the same time, nothing can take the place of seeing special friends and family.
How competitive is SEC softball? We always hear like it's a super regional every weekend. Do you really feel that way when you guys are playing in some of these matchups?
Absolutely. I mean, you're never going into a weekend thinking, we got this. We're going to win this. There's always going to be competition in the other dugout, no matter who it is. And they want to win as much as you want to win. So you know that they're going to do everything that they can, throw their absolute best, have their best game against you. So it's like you can't ever take a game off or a pitch off. It doesn't matter if the team is last in the league or first in the league right now, because anybody can beat absolutely anybody on any day.
Well, you've played before at Rhodes Stadium in front of a packed Rhodes House in the postseason with everything on the line. What's it been like this season? Even with some limited capacity and social distancing, fans are still loud, still firing you guys up.
Well, they're still creating momentum and excitement at Rhodes Stadium. And, if it's 5 fans, they're going to create momentum and excitement because they love to watch us play and we love them, love having them there. So I think it does, change the dynamic that we can't have 4,000, but having, 1,500 fans there, that's still more than other stadiums in the country. So we're really grateful for all the people that have come out to support us, even in this pandemic.
Well, we're getting closer to the end of the regular season, getting ready for some postseason play coming up in May and then in June. Just what's most important for this team to focus on right now with several big SEC series still left?
Well, we know that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so I just think if we're just getting better every game, trying to find where we're going to get everything clicking. And I know Murph said that we don't feel like we've had everything click yet. And that's promising coming to the postseason and the end of the regular season, because we know that we're still getting better and there's still opportunities for us to keep working hard and keep chasing our dreams that are going to come true, hopefully, at the end of the season. So I just feel like if we're getting better every day and we're still keeping that mentality that we had back in January, where you're showing up, you're working hard, you're still trying to get better at the little things, things are going to go well for us, hopefully, at the end of the season, if we can just keep getting better every game.
Well, Kaylee, congratulations on what's been a successful season already for the Crimson Tide, especially for you at the plate and at first base. Just thank you for joining us and best of luck moving forward. Roll Tide.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Big thanks to Kaylee Towle. The Crimson Tide softball team will continue visiting with some members of the softball team over the next few weeks as they continue what has been a great season so far. Now we are so fired up for this top 5 matchup, Alabama against Florida, coming up Friday through Sunday at Rhodes Stadium. Certainly looking forward to that. Also looking forward to some football back on campus here at the University of Alabama. On Saturday, we will have the 2021 Golden Flake A-Day game. Again, the kickoff is set for noon. Our coverage on the radio starts at 11:30 a.m. So to get you in the mood for football and in the mood for A-Day coming up on Saturday, we wanted to show you some Alabama football practice highlights from earlier this week. Take a look at the Thomas Drew practice field and see the Crimson Tide getting ready for what's coming up on Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Gonna take my time. Come on. Turn it on. There we go. Good shit, Taya.
Big thing.
Press the hip. Catch the ball in front of your eyes. Catch it in front of your eyes. Good.
Gotta give him a good ball.
Hey. Hey, go, 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 go.
That's it. That's it.
Ready. Ready.
That's it. Right on that upfield hand. Right on that upfield
Hey.
hand.
Pull it. Go. Good. That's it. Good. 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 Here we go. Pull it. That's it. Good. 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 Here we go. That's up. That's up. That's up. Let's go. Get it. Get it. Get it. Good. Down. Come on. Gotta hold it. Gotta hold it. Gotta hold it. Here we go. Up high. Up high. Up high. Up high. Pull it. Ah. Gotta pull it. Gotta be able to feel it and pull it.
Good. Good. Like that. Good. 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 Right next to. Good. Good. Come on. Good. 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 Hit. Good. Good. Here we go, TJ.
Hit. Good. Better. Good. Here we go. Set. Hit. Nope. You ain't pressing on it. Come to me. Go. Thank you. Now you gotta move your feet. You got this. Go right there, good. Finish. Here we go, Taylor.
Great look at practice from the University of Alabama as the Crimson Tide are in their final week of spring practice, and it all comes to a head on Saturday afternoon for the 2021 Golden Flake A-Day game at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Again, our radio coverage will start at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday as we close out football practice for the spring of 2021. We'll also celebrate the national championship from this past fall. That's what's coming up around the capstone. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you can expect on the Crimson Tide Sports Network this weekend. Well, looking at the schedule again, Alabama gearing up for what is going to be a really special weekend on campus. Just so much coming up here in Tuscaloosa. Starting tonight with the baseball team at home against the Auburn Tigers. One of those rare Thursday to Saturday weekends. Thursdays, Fridays games at 6 p.m. and then Saturday at 4 o'clock, allowing you to go to the A-Day football game or maybe even softball and then head over to Sewell Thomas Stadium at 4 o'clock. Mentioned the softball team. That top 5 series against the Florida Gators gets going tomorrow at 6, Saturday at 1, Sunday at 1 p.m. as well. And not just football is at 50% capacity for the A-Day game. Don't forget baseball and softball as well. Up to 50% capacity tickets on RolledTide.com. So we certainly want to see you on campus for those events, plus the Golden Flake A-Day game coming your way. Again, 11:30 airtime, 12 noon we'll have the kickoff, and you can listen to that on our radio affiliates throughout the state, TuneIn Radio, and then come right back here to our Facebook page for the booth cam as well. Get to watch Eli Gold, John Parker Wilson, Rashad Johnson call the game coming up on Saturday, and then stick around afterwards. We will be celebrating the national championship that the Crimson Tide won in 2020, all part of a really special weekend here at the University of Alabama. This has been a special show here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Thank you so much for watching Crimson Drive. We say thank you especially to our guest, Miller Forrestall, as well as Owen Diodati and Kaylee Tao from softball, baseball to football. Another great show, and we look forward to having Crimson Drive back for you again coming up next week at 2 p.m. Central on Thursday here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Special thanks to our Facebook Live producer, Ethan Carabin, and for all of us with Alabama Athletics. This is Roger Hoover saying thank you for watching, good afternoon, and roll Tide.